is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
It is a Thursday edition of Talkin Cowboys, presented by Tostitos, the official chip and dip of the Dallas Cowboys. Live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star in Frisco. So glad you're along with us here for the next 40 minutes. We are previewing the Cowboys offense versus the Philadelphia defense. Monday Night Football coming up later this week. Week 3 is upon us in the NFL. I'm alongside Heckma Harrison, the professional analyst, football analyst, ESPN, DallasCowboys.com.
Oh, am I really? Yeah. I'm waiting on. I can't take it now. See, you see what he just did to me now? I can't think about anything else but the break now.
But the break?
When we go to break. So
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Got some news for him in the break.
I do have some news for Heckma. Breaking news. Rob Phillips is along with us as well. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm good. I was worried about Heck when I walked in. He was on the floor, and we had to he didn't want any help getting up, but
no,
you're training and you're doing well.
Is it that sore?
I am in fat rub C right now, guys. It hurts so bad.
Can we coin that term? Can we make T-shirts?
No, don't you make a
I'm not going to do it.
Don't you do that.
How many damn T-shirts we got?
We got a bunch.
We got frat boy vibes.
Frat boy vibes. Say it with your chest.
Yeah.
Smelly sticker.
Smelly stickers. Yeah, we got a lot of different T-shirt sayings here. But, oh, look who decided to show up. We were trying to make it subtle.
No, don't make it subtle.
We were trying to make it subtle by starting on the camera with me only, but, I mean, it took him a minute. Hey, Isaiah.
We're all here for you.
You said we were coming in hot today.
You don't have your iPad today?
Late.
Yeah, my iPad. I'll get it here.
You went the speed limit, though, right?
In the Autobahn.
Autobahn speed limit. All right.
It's North Texas Giving Day. Did you guys know that?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, that.
So I got tied up trying to post for some of the foundations that I'm with. So
Very nice.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. I like that. Let's get into Cowboys news since everybody's here now. There was some news that broke yesterday. Wednesday just has been an unfortunate day over the last 2 weeks for the Cowboys. Keanu Neal out this week because of COVID or placed on the COVID reserve list. What is the update there?
Well, he hadn't been ruled out yet.
That's good.
But if we go off of every player that's had this happen to them days before a game, then they're preparing for him not to play. It happened to Randy Gregory. It happened to Zach Martin. Happened to Brandon Knight. Noah Brown was cleared in time but didn't play. So the reports are he's a close contact, which means 5 days of isolation, and you're going to test every day. So that there's a chance he could be cleared right in time, but I don't think the Cowboys are preparing for
Is this more of a contact tracing kind of deal? That's
what it sounds like.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I think, it's interesting. It's going to be kind of a musical chairs thing because if he doesn't play – and Dorrance Armstrong doesn't play, and you don't have DeMarcus Lawrence, obviously. Very interesting where Micah Parsons is going to line up. And maybe it's a little bit of everywhere. We kind of touched on that early in the week.
I don't see it being pigeonholed into one spot, especially if Keanu Neal is not available. Because, I mean, we've had the conversation of, now that Randy Gregory's back, do we even need him at edge rusher? I guess the consensus was half and half, yes, no, maybe sometimes. But, yeah, if there's no Neal back there, then do we see a lot more of 11 at the linebacker spot?
I hope not. There's a dude we drafted by the name of Jabril Cox. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's on a roster, and he's pretty athletic as well.
Went to LSU?
Yeah, went to LSU. Kind of a dude.
Where's number 14?
Yeah, kind of a dude.
Okay.
So I think that he can fill in that role as well. We talk about our depth at a lot of positions this year. We have the fortune of having that, so let's utilize it. Let's get these guys out there. Let them go out there and make plays. That's what he does.
No, I love the optimism. And I've been crying to get a look at these younger guys anyway. And so if this is the opportunity that he gets, I'm sure to just be in spot duty on a tight end, which is supposedly his strength coming out of the draft, his ability to cover tight end. So he'll get that this week. We don't know the health of their tight ends. Well, I think Zach Ertz is out for the game. But I trust that with Dallas Goedert and Jack Stoll that we could use Jabril Cox in spot duty. I'm with that.
Yeah.
Don't worry me.
Give him some more playing time, I think, would be nice. He hasn't seen a ton of playing time. Most of his stuff has come on special teams, but maybe there will be a little bit more Jabril Cox. In terms of Wednesday, were there any other news storylines, Rob?
I think that's it. Randy Gregory's back.
That's a good one.
So they're back to practice today, so we should see him. Yeah, it's weird. It's Thursday, but it's Wednesday.
Yeah, it's been kind of slow.
Jason Garrett thing back in the day.
Yeah, it's been kind of slow because of no practice the last 2 days, and there hasn't been anybody in there. I was asked last night by one of the guys at the Fan asking if Kelvin Joseph has been practicing, but is he available to practice yet, or does he have to wait until that 3 weeks is up until he actually gets on the field, period?
That's a good question.
When he returns from his hip injury.
I think he's got to be on IR.
I think so, too.
Yeah, and then they can start the clock. Like when it's, well, that's a good question because these IR rules have changed, and it used to be within like PUP you can start practicing and you have a window and all that stuff. I don't know if that's the case for him though.
Yeah, because he wasn't
question
on
for Mike.
PUP. Okay,
yeah,
we'll try and figure that out later on as well. But anything sticking out to you guys now that we've kind of previewed the Philly offense and the Cowboys defense? Now let's flip the table a little bit. Looking at the film going into Monday's matchup, we're trying to break down this Cowboys offense into the Philadelphia defense. And I'll start this off with you, Heckma. Early on in the season, what is the best thing that the Cowboys offense has done so far to you?
Air it out. Just continue to throw the football. They've been airing people out. I mean, yes, the game last week versus the Chargers, I think getting Tony Pollard involved, I think showed the kind of asset that he can be to this offense, and Michael Gallup's absence, basically. And so, you know, when you look at both of these teams, it really will. This game will be decided by the front lines, offense and defensive lines. And man, Fletcher Cox is still Fletcher Cox, number 91. He just sticks out like a sore thumb with everything that he does. But he has a guy by the name of Javon Hargraves that will cancel Christmas if we don't get him. If we don't get him blocked.
No Christmas trees this year in the Heckma
No,
household?
we're gonna get a Christmas tree, and I got one picked out already. Uncle Zay, we already got it picked out for you this year. But I mean, it's just gonna be one up front, and so I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Dallas Cowboys line this up. It's not the same threat as it was with Bosa on the outside, even though they do have some edge rushers. But for me, I just want to see Terrence Steele not go to sleep at the wheel. I know that rhyme, bars, but I wasn't trying to. Just stay on top of what you do. I think it's a heightened sense of awareness when you have a Bosa on the other side of you, so just don't relax, you know, and it really does feel good going into a game like this, knowing that you do have Zach Martin.
No, having him back was a world of a difference in week 2, but I want to ask kind of off of that point, Rob, if your confidence level, I know it's risen from Terrence Steele last week to Terrence Steele in week 3, but how much has it risen going up against another team, like you said, even though there is no Joey Bosa on the other side?
It's risen, but he talked about it yesterday himself, Terrence Steele, that this front line for Philly, they're monsters. And I feel like we've been saying that about them for 20 years. Like that's their defense starts up front, and it always seems to. And they lose Brandon Graham for the season.
Yes. Big loss for them, too.
And I'm looking at the Eagles' official depth chart on their website right now, and there's just a blank spot at left defensive end. They haven't officially filled that. I imagine Josh Sweat. Or Barnett, they're going to, one guy is going to play that side. But they're just going to plug one guy in and go. I mean, I think they're still really good up front. And, you watch that 49ers game, and you watch what Barnett and those guys can do off the snap. It's pretty impressive. So it's not just Steele. I think it's everybody. They got to be able to block for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, these guys propose a different challenge than what we faced last week or even the week before. I feel like week 1 versus Tampa, they were big boys. I mean, they had some big boys on the end that can get to the quarterback. Week 2 against the Chargers, we were worried about one guy primarily. Now, they don't have a Jabril Cox, but they do have Big boy Cox, COX, right? And he's been in the league for a while, and he's dominant if you allow him to be. But they, obviously we talked about Graham being gone, but they just gave Sweat a bunch of money.
Yes.
They just gave Sweat a bunch of money, so he steps up. He will be in that role. And then there's a guy behind him, too, who's always been a Cowboys record by the name of Kerrigan?
Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah, he's not even starting for him.
Yeah, but he's there.
He's there.
He didn't start for Washington last year when we played him the first time, and he had 2 sacks, I believe.
So so to that point, these boys they present a different problem for us up front. Speed is one thing when you're worried about Bosa. But these guys, to Steele's point, have a motor. They're dogs. They're savvy veterans. These are vets now. These guys know what the heck they're doing, and they're ginormous. They're ginormous, right? And they got that old man uncle strength. So you got to be, you know what I'm talking about, that Kung Fu Panda grip, that's Katoosh. Okay, so you got, so you have to be able to hold the fort, drop your hips, and get underneath these guys. Otherwise, they will walk you back to the quarterback, and we don't need that on Dak's legs.
When you look at them, did they have a twinge of that Tampa defense? I'm just talking about up front with Vita and Sue from the inside, the 1 and the 3 tech, the way they play.
They favor Tampa more than they favor the Chargers, obviously. Yeah, I mean, so I think if you're going to make a comparison, obviously, to what we faced this year, it's more Tampa than it is Los Angeles, and that's not good.
No. Not at all.
By the way, I know it's only week 3, so this is super early to start throwing out ranks, but at least we have multiple sample sizes to do this on. This has been against 2 struggling offenses, with San Francisco and Atlanta being the opposing teams to Philadelphia. But right now, the Eagles' defense currently sits top 5 in total yards allowed, scoring allowed, passing yards allowed, third down percentage, and yards per play allowed. So, I mean, they've gotten off to a quick start, and a lot of that is the front 7 overall. Yeah. But so you're saying not as good as Tampa Bay, but similar in style is ultimately what you're laying out here.
Yes, I think they're like I said, it's just hard. They're savvy.
Yeah,
I think they're just savvy vets, and these guys, you're not going to fool these guys. You're not going to trick them. You're not going to, out leverage them. They know all the tricks of the trade. So, it really comes down to, you're going to have to go and you're going to have to hit these guys. You're going to have to move them off the ball. You're not going to be able to bamboozle your way into getting good plays. You're going to have to manhandle these guys, and you better bring your sack lunch. Them draws are going to have to come back out, because it's going to be a work day when you're playing against Fletcher and you're playing against, Josh Sweat, who has a pocket full of money now, and then Hargrave, and then, oh, by the way, Kerrigan, who just doesn't stop, right? So you have your work, your work cut out for you as we try to establish this run game continuously.
The one thing they haven't done is force a turnover yet in 2 games. That's the one thing you look at their resume and say they haven't done that, although they dropped at least 1 pick against San Francisco. So they're good all the way through, and they are similar to Tampa in that that's their strength. I mean, you try to run against this front, it's going to be tough, and pass protection is going to be tough too, because they'll put 5 guys on the line of scrimmage and
drive you back.
Or just kind of try to make you figure out who's coming and who's dropping.
And where they're not like Tampa is they don't blitz a lot. I didn't see that. They don't bring a lot of guys on the blitz, and that may benefit us as well. I think we have an advantage on them and the edge. I think we can get the edge, and I think Tony Pollard, if we continue the trend that we're using him that way, he can get the edge. And I think this is a game for Zeke to get on track, and so we could stop all this talk. It's got 15 more games to go, and I think a fresh 21 later in the season is going to benefit us. But offensive line-wise, just going back to talking about Zach Martin and what he's done with Steele, just kind of anchoring these guys, that whole right side of the offensive line down. Beyotish, I think people are starting to understand that he needs a lot more strength. We've seen him lose those battles in the bull rush situation. But this guy, people are not talking about what he's doing. And I talked to you, when we talked last year, I said, man, he's like that last call, the lady at the end of the bar, the last call. But Conor Williams is having a damn good season. And I mean, his start to his season.
I said last year, you guys laughed at me.
No, listen now. Listen.
You did.
P, this is me coming around and saying you were right. There's just a roundabout way to say it. I'm just saying
Thank you.
I mean, he's absolutely.
Where's my smelly sticker at?
It's somewhere around here. But I mean, Conor Williams is doing a good job, and having Smith back also kind of anchors this offensive line. So I love it.
I agree, but to that point, 2 weeks. Our first game was only 2 weeks ago. And the film, when we talk about Tyler Beyotish, the film that was out on the second half where he was getting kind of driven back and bulldozed, that's out there. And you best believe that these guys watch that. And as good as Vita Vea is, these guys up front know more than he knows. Vita Vea was just locking on and just running you back. So imagine the guys with the same ability, but now have all the tricks that in their bag as well. So we have to be on our toes. I mean, obviously, I'm not just gassing these guys up. They're good. They're good, and for the type of defense that they're going to run, we are going to have to establish the run. We're going to have to sustain drives because, to your point, they don't blitz. Why? Because they're not confident in their secondary. So why would they put their secondary, at risk? So they're going to sit back. They're going to play a single high safety. They want to do that
zone all day,
but they're going to have 8 guys in the box. So we still have to establish a run, but we have to win our battles on the outside as well. And obviously it depends on if Coop Dog is back, and obviously Gallup's gone, so we got some struggles there too.
Yeah, and you're going to have to find a way to get to the edge regardless. But when we come back, I want to keep that Tyler Beyotish conversation going, him and Conor Williams both, because that interior of the offensive line has been kind of a point that's been glossed over by a lot of the Cowboys, or at least media and us in general. Kind of, I feel like that might be the trouble spot on offense right now. But is it that big of a trouble spot? We'll talk about it when we return with more Talkin Cowboys presented by Tostitos.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Whether you're watching from home or you are cheering in the stands, with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor. Isaiah, stand back. Talkin Cowboys.
Mike swing for tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, because you didn't have.
I knew you were waiting on it. I knew you were waiting on it.
I was waiting on the mic swing, and I was waiting on the long finger. When you hit him with the long finger, that's when we in.
Can't give it to him every day.
Oh, dog.
Every day. We got 5 days a week.
Okay, all right, you're right.
You know,
the mic swing's even better when you get the shades.
5 days a week times 17 weeks. That's a lot of shows.
It's true.
It's a lot of shows.
You can't spoil them.
You gotta give him the long finger, though.
I like that.
Arsenio Hall?
The long finger.
By the way, while we were in the break, Chris Beam gave us an update on the IR situation. I asked the question and put Rob on the spot earlier about Kelvin Joseph and his return. What is the thing with IR there?
It's just like Pup, because Pup's always been 6 weeks, start a window to practice. Same thing. 3 weeks on IR, then he can start practicing and start that clock. So 1 more week to go for Kelvin Joseph.
So they'll most likely not have him back week 4, even as, best case scenario.
I think
they'll have him on the field probably, but they would ramp him up, I would think, as a rookie that's missed that significant amount of time.
That's a good question. If he was able to practice next week and had a full week, I don't know if he would play in the game, but he might be ready to be active and dressed for the game.
Are they allowed to work with trainers and all that during that period of time?
Yeah, I mean they're doing rehab and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so he's not out of shape, and he's working with Britt Brown, so he'll be in shape.
Britt's on him.
Britt's on him. Trust me, from somebody who's been with Britt, you're in shape. You much rather be on the practice field than to spend your time with him every day. Man. He's an awesome person, but he's a bulldog, aka Pitt. Yeah,
he'll get after you.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we were heading into the break, we mentioned Tyler Beyotish and kind of how the film hasn't been friendly to him the first 2 weeks of the season. And this is still, we got to remember, this is a second-year guy, fourth-round draft pick, and he's been thrusted into a starting role permanently for the first time in his career, because even last year you had Joe Looney kind of lingering around him. But, Rob, from what you've seen so far from Tyler Beyotish, is this something we should be keeping an eye on? I won't even say concerned with yet, because I don't think we're to that point. But if this offensive line continues in the trajectory it's going, can Tyler Beyotish keep up?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys hit on it. He's a young player, and he didn't play as much as they would have liked last year because of injuries. And there's always, I think with young guys, strength is always a factor there. So I think you guys are right about that. I think one reason why Zach Martin is not at right tackle and he's at right guard is not only to help the right tackle, but help the center as well. He's right in the middle. He can help both guys pre-snap, after the snap, combo blocks, all that stuff. So I think the presence of a 6-time Pro Bowler, that's their thinking, is that we've got two young guys on either side of Zach Martin. Let's have him help out both guys.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I mean, you obviously want to support him as much as possible. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. I mean, he's getting better. I mean, you can't get better if you don't get reps, right? So that's what he has to do. He's thrown into the fire. I don't think he's let us down by any means. He just is facing some very large human beings that know what the heck they're doing. So that's how you have to figure it out, though. I mean, he faced freaking three of the best guys. Think about it. I mean, he faced who in camp?
Camp?
Oh,
yeah.
Aaron
Donald.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, Aaron Donald. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in his first game this year, he played against
Vita Vea.
All right. And now he's going against Fletcher Cox.
He had Linval Joseph last week.
So, I mean, he's playing the best that this league has to offer every week. He will be better.
I thought I would see an uptick going into the Joseph matchup last week, though. I thought he would match up decently there.
I didn't think he got dogged.
But you're right.
Yeah,
he didn't. But I didn't see a massive improvement.
You're looking for domination. He's not going to dominate anybody this year.
Not right now.
Let's get that clear. He's not. He doesn't have enough junk in the trunk.
It's a good thing to remember.
He's not Travis.
He's not Zach
Martin.
Martin. Not Travis
either
Frederick.
one of them. Was he like 310? Maybe. He reminds me of like Kyle Kozier back in the day. Like Kyle did his job, but he wasn't dump trunking anybody, right? He was surrounded by large human beings, and he did his job efficiently. But you can't ask him to go out there and dominate. You just want him to not get dogged and make sure that everybody's lined up and going in the right direction.
And I think Coach Philbin and Kellen Moore are doing a wonderful job with the offensive line. Just think about where they were in the first game. People don't talk about, we didn't have Zach the first game, and we came close to winning that one. But still, I think they're doing a really good job of protecting Dak. The play calling also is putting Dak in a position for success. But again, I think Beyotish, going back to what you just said, I think as his career goes, as he gets more strength, he'll be able to win those matchups. But it's going to be like that every week for him. So, like Urban Meyer said, it's Alabama every week. Yeah.
Oh my God!
What'd you think about that?
Replay. I think that thing's just a whole just blow the whole coaching staff up. I don't even know why he was ever hired, but let's not talk.
It's Alabama every week.
Let's not even go there.
Urban.
Yeah.
Goodness,
we can go all day on Urban.
There's no non-conference in September where you're playing
He's not playing the Citadel.
Yeah. You mean these guys go to sleep with tablets in their hand watching film? They know what we're doing?
Holy moly.
Oh, geez.
Wow, this is not okay.
These are the best athletes in the world? Oh, gee golly.
Every guy was a star in college. Yeah.
Freaking freak.
Heckma, you mentioned play calling, and Rob the other day said
we look alike. I know.
It's okay. I get you guys mixed up all the time. Rob, last week you said that you thought it was the best 2-game stretch of Kellen Moore play calling that you had seen.
Yeah.
The best play calling that he had done throughout his offensive coordinator career. What kind of advantage does that give you, or do you believe that gives you going into a game like this where you have some certain matchups that stick out, but ultimately this is probably the worst defensive unit you've faced so far?
Well, that's a great. You think it is? I think they're really good.
I think personnel-wise,
you think so? Like more so than LA. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on Tampa, but yeah. But I mean, they're good, especially in the front. Excuse me, in the front seven. What you asked right off the top of the show about what the offense has done best. Mm-hmm. I think it connects to what I said about Kellen. What we said about Kellen Moore calling plays. Like they've shown they can win any type of game. They can win a boxing match or a bar fight, whatever they need to do. If they need to run the ball a bunch, they can do that. If Dak needs to throw it 60 times, not ideal, but they can do that. Nice. And so that's what I'm curious about. And you guys touched on kind of what Philly likes to do, what they do best. How defenses want to play this Cowboys offense going forward? Do they want to try to sell out and stop the run? Or with the way Dak Prescott has evolved as a quarterback, do you really want to give him opportunities one-on-one in the passing game? And so how does Philly want to play it? Do they want to play zone and play safeties over the top and say, kind of like what LA did, and say, we'll give you some runs, but we're going to make you drive the football, and hopefully you make a mistake. And if you only score 20 points, maybe we can steal a game from you. I'm curious to see how and some of it depends on what a defense's strengths are to begin with, what they're capable of doing from a personnel standpoint.
What do you think they would do from Philly's perspective?
Well, Isaiah hit on it. I mean, I think they'll keep a safety over the top, but and try not to give up big plays. That's kind of what you've seen from them. That they'll play some shell coverage and kind of make you drive the length of the field because they have confidence in their guys up front. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see what they do, though.
And they haven't given up one pass for over 20 yards. So, I mean, even when we talk about what they do in the box, they're still
plays 40 yards back.
But what they're trying to do is limit the big play, and they've done a really good job of that. But back to Kellen Moore, and he's faced a lot of criticism. But I love when Mike McCarthy was in his press conference and he talked about him actually being a head coach next year. I think he's on to something. And this isn't hot take-ish. I just feel like, and I'm one of those people that I do not like these young coaches that get elevated over guys that's been in the league for a long time. I think Eric Bieniemy deserves to be a head coach in the NFL, not college. And this is, but when you look at Kellen Moore and what he's doing from an offensive standpoint, it translates to everything that we see in football right now. In high school, college, and the pros, the kind of games that he's calling. And so I just think, man, that he is next in line. I think if you look at what he's doing, and if Dak is able to play, stay healthy this entire year, you're going to see those numbers reflected in our offense. Will that reflect in wins? I don't know. I'm just talking about the numbers and what he's going to put up. And I think he's a guy that's on his way. One of the things that I'm curious about, if he does become a head coach, what kind of personality does Kellen Moore have? We don't know him like that. Maybe you do, but I mean, he's better go to charm school because he's in line.
I think he's shown more personality this year than he ever has, though. Like, I think that's kind of he's getting comfortable. You can see the confidence starting to build. And I think I first noticed it during his first press conference in Oxnard. And he stepped up on the podium and he made a witty little joke and kind of went after it. I think the confidence level's building not only off the field, but you could see it in his play calling. When in the past would you have seen 3 down linemen and then what was it, both tackles out to the left like we saw? And I know it worked one play and it didn't work 2 plays later. However, I mean, that confidence level is next level for Kellen Moore. I agree. And you've seen it.
I'm with you on Eric Bieniemy, and there's a lot of good coaching candidates out there. I mean, so to just assume he's going to be a head coach in the NFL next year, there's no guarantee of that. Depends on how many jobs are open and what they're looking for. And I definitely think I could see him definitely getting more than one interview like he got last year. If this offense, especially if this offense keeps on the track that they are.
Right.
But, there's no guarantee they're losing him next year. And it's week 2. Well, week 3.
You want to keep your OC.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the Cowboys sure as heck do.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, everybody wants to keep Kellen Moore.
You think it's something, Isaiah? Say it. What is it?
I don't know the man, so I can't speak to his ability to coach other men. I don't know that, and people think of head coach. They think, oh, are you a good offensive coordinator? Are you a good defensive coordinator? That's a part of being a head coach. Majority of your main role as a head coach is to coach the men who coach the other men. All right, so your job is to coach your coaches. That's your job. Coach Belichick made this very clear when I was in New England. He coaches the coaches, right? And the coach's job is then to turn around, take that leadership from him, and then convey that over to the players. You are a manager of men as a head coach.
You're a CEO.
You are a CEO. So if you love coaching, like in terms of like play calling, you're probably not a head coach unless you're Sean McVay. Yeah. Right, and you know, like there's very few of those guys like that. He's different.
But that's exactly what my point. I mean, you see those young guys get elevated like that, and the Siriannis of the world. Like, who are they?
Hey, absolutely. But I think everybody in this world, including this room, we can admit that something's different about McVay. Right? He has a little to him. I don't know if Kellen Moore has it. I don't know. I really don't. I can't sit up here and say I can't speak to, if he has that kind of grit in that, and is he outspoken enough to be a head coach? Coach Phillips is a great coach, but is he a head coach? So he's a great coordinator. So you look at people's abilities and say, okay, just because they can call plays really well and they understand the game doesn't mean that they should be in a position to manage other grown men. Kellen Moore managing entire staff of 50-plus-year-old men, that takes a lot. So I don't know if he's capable of doing that because I don't know the man well enough, but just understand that it's a lot more than just your ability to call plays.
When he becomes a head coach, and I think he will be at some point, it will be for his offensive mind, and whether he's going to call plays one day still as a head coach or not, he's going to be heavily involved, just like Sean McVay, and that's why he would get the job for sure. But the CEO part, that's what Mike McCarthy's doing these days. He used to call plays as the head coach, and now he's even talked about it. It's not as much fun. But I have to. That's my job, is to coach the coaches and establish, a schedule and an approach in terms of managing guys throughout the season, and also establishing a mentality, a style of play, and a culture. That's what Mike McCarthy is trying to bring to this team, but he does give his coordinators a lot of autonomy.
And those are great points by both of you guys. I mean, and I love when anytime that you talk about Bill Belichick and what he does, I think people's ears perk up because he's a winner. And you look at coaches like Nick Saban in the college level, I think all of these guys have one gene that's important, and that's one of the most important things is organization. These guys are supreme organizers, and they're able to put these things together. I think Kellen Moore is that way as well. And so, that's one of those, like, success leaves clues. This is one of those, and that's being organized, and I see that in him.
And that culture started the shift as a general standpoint. We talked about it with what Mike McCarthy and his task was this offseason, was building that culture. Kellen Moore was a part of that culture, I think, when he first got in here, because the offense had swagger a year ago prior to losing their quarterback. It was Kellen Moore's job to kind of reestablish that with having Dak Prescott come back. So when we come back, I want to ask that same question. Which one have you seen more improvement on through the first 2 weeks of the season to wrap things up, offense or defense, when we return here to Talkin Cowboys?
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit ATT.com for details.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Final segment here of Talking Cowboys on a Thursday. It's a great people, great pay replay. You've heard that Jason Witten has joined the Caliber Collision team. And if you want to join him to do great work with great people and for great pay, apply now at jobs@caliber.com. That's jobs@caliber.com.
I was going to say shit.
One of my clients had his car wrecked, and I sent them to Caliber.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
He did. Yep, he had a nice car. I can't say it. What kind of car, but he had a nice car.
Nice car.
And yeah, I was like, hey, man, we have a new sponsor on the show. You should probably go to Caliber.
Boom.
He'll have a nice car again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been there previously because there was a Caliber in Waco, and I had a little fender bender, and I went straight to them. They did a great job down there. I don't know. I haven't been to one in DFW yet. Maybe I need to check it out. I don't want to check it out. I don't want to get in a wreck, but
yeah, let's not.
If I do, let's do that. Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Isaiah, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about North Texas Giving Day that is today. I know you've got some things to look at for. This is always a great tradition that comes around in the fall every year.
Yeah, North Texas Giving Day is huge. September 23rd, which is today, right? And I personally have been involved with a lot of nonprofits. I'm very passionate about giving back. I'm a huge believer that God's put us in positions and opportunities, and who are we not to give back to other people?
Amen.
So I am personally on the board for Union Gospel Mission Dallas, which is a nonprofit obviously trying to tackle homelessness in the DFW. There's actually the Union Gospel Mission Dallas, and then there's also the Women's Shelter as well. So trying to tackle that issue. And then I'm also on the board for the Dallas Wings Foundation, which is actually new this year. And Donald Driver's on there as well with me. But we're on there, but they tackle a lot of different things: education, wellness, social justice, and women and girls empowerment. So you guys can go on my Instagram, Linktree, Isaiah Stanback, and you guys can contribute to those if you guys choose. Or there's a lot of other good ones. I'm sure Dallas has some that they're tied to. But if you guys have, even if it's the $5 that you would spend on your cup of coffee this morning, go out there and make sure that you guys help out somebody else today.
That's awesome. I love that. And you can also donate. I know the Cowboys are very, very involved in North Texas Giving Day as well. Salvation Army, I believe the Gene and Jerry Jones Foundation's doing some stuff as well. So there are definitely ways to give. Absolutely. So get out there and do it. So you and I are going to talk after the show, and I'm going to hook you up as well from my own side. But all right. Cowboys and Eagles, we've been previewing the Cowboys offense versus that Eagles defense, but now I kind of want to compare the offense and defense through 2 weeks between the Cowboys. We only got about 5 minutes here. Okay. So which one has seen the majority of the improvement through 2 weeks of the regular season? You can date it all the way back to camp, all the way back to the offseason, but I want to know which one has come the furthest from the middle of the offseason into now going into week 3. I'll start with you, Heckma.
Well, I'm going to pick the defense simply because of the turnovers that they've created over the last 11 games. I believe it's 11 games. 11 weeks. And I think they've done a really good job of that. I think Dan Quinn, his emphasis on culture and competition, you see it immediately with the way that these guys are getting to the ball. Guys are the next man up is really competing. And so I'm going to say defense literally because our offense has been clicking since the beginning.
I would say offense just because they got guys back. I mean, the defense was basically ahead of the offense throughout training camp and preseason. You get Dak Prescott back, that makes a huge difference. Also, Amari Cooper. But I'm with Heck in terms of you go all the way back to last year. This is a more in tune defense than it was. They're still giving up yards, but they are taking the ball away and they're getting stops when they need to for the most part.
Plus 14 in the turnover margin since the start of those 11 games, Heckma, which is number 1 in the NFL at the moment. So
I am not going to pick special teams. Is that an answer?
It could be the answer.
Okay, that's the answer. Yes, I'm not picking special teams, and I'm gonna go with the defense just because the expectation on offense is so high. It's kind of hard to exceed that, and I don't think we've put up the points that we really want to put up on that side of the ball yet. Even though we are converting in the red zone, which is awesome, but defense, hands down. And now we don't even have to go back to last season. We just talk about just from camp. There was question marks in terms of what this team was going to be, and those questions are starting to get answered. I think they're starting to figure out what their identity is, right? To culture and to the swag, how you play, how everybody next man man up. That's a lot of people say that. Is it real on most teams? No. On this team, it's starting to show. The next man is up. Right?
And it's only been 2 weeks.
Exactly.
But when your first-round draft pick already looks like he could be the best player on your defense by the end of the season, then you're headed in the right direction.
You drafted well.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's a good point. And I think I would say defense, too, if we're dating it back, just because of, like you said, the improvement and communication. I mean, you're not seeing as many blown coverages. Like Rob said, they've been giving up yards, but they're not giving up the big play. They're not giving it up over the top. I don't want to jinx anything going into week 3 because, I mean, Philly's going to touch you deep on a couple of occasions. However, I do want to say the offense last year, whenever you lost your tackles, whenever you lost certain players on the outside, you didn't skip a beat last week with no Lyle Collins and with no Michael Gallup. Yeah. And you were able to execute better than you did week 1, which is, I think, something that to say about that offense. So there has definitely been improvement on that side of the football. Dak Prescott has a ton to do with that, but the growth of some of the underneath guys like a Terrence Steele and a Tony Pollard certainly do as well.
No, it absolutely. And look, we have to look at the Cooper effect on that offense. I think for all the criticism that he gets, man, he is coming in big for this offense in the first 2 games and been a reliable source for Dak Prescott. I'm just saying, like, when you talk about the improvements, defense has been there, but to me, the offense, you still had those numbers. I mean, Coop still had 92 catches last year. Yeah. I mean, which was what? That's fourth all time for the Dallas Cowboys. It's only Michael Irvin, Jason Witten, and Dez Bryant. That's good company.
Yeah,
in a year where you didn't have any tackles, and so look, I just looking at the offense, I think that we still had the ability, even when we didn't have all of our guns. I think defensively, we just didn't have anything, and you see the resurgence. I see these guys playing with faith and belief in one another, and we didn't have that last year.
Yeah, and the Cowboys are going to have to do it without Keanu Neal this week, and they've got a couple other guys missing, so they're going to have to figure it out. Maybe no Dorrance Armstrong or Carlos Watkins either.
Or Cooper, possibly.
Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about it. But yes, that's a potential. Tomorrow, Say It With Your Chest Friday here on Talkin Cowboys. Join us. We've got predictions, and we'll give you the whole rundown heading into Monday Night Football. But for now, for Chris Beam, Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you tomorrow on Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?